everything else versus Bitcoin essentially gets spent and dies.
I want to be able to have reactive security, and I think OpVault is today the most straightforward, easiest to use way to do that.
I will not be insulted by a clockmaker.
Overall, these kind of ways to make the network easier to both build on and interact with, I think is a really big deal.
If Bitcoin existed when we started Twitter, we would not have to go down the ad model path. I mean, it's simple as that.
Integrating Lightning into a social network is the killer app.
Hello, and welcome to the Bitcoin.review podcast, where we explore developments and projects with the people who actually make them happen. The show is supported by Pod 2.0, Sat Streaming, and CoinKite. If you're a new listener, I'm NVK. I run CoinKite, where we've been helping people secure their Bitcoins for over a decade. We make the cold card and fun products like the block clock. You can find more information about it on coinkite.com. Hello, and welcome back to the Bitcoin.review. Today, hopefully, not too rugged by Elon, so we have a backup connection. Books don't need batteries. You know, Luddites sometimes are not wrong. So we're going to start today's show with a new, Nifty is a return guest. Hello, Nifty.
Hey, how's it going?
Nadav, hello.
Hello.
Vivek.
Hello.
So let's start with the housekeeping. Opensats announces a new wave of grants for open source projects in the space. So some of the grantees are BDK, LNBits, Watch Descriptor, Stratum V2, Fedmint modules, Amber, Nostr UI UX development, Nostr use case, and first 5 grants are sourced from the general fund, and the 3 from the Nostr fund. Josie Baker will receive a long-term support for Opensats as well. He's going to be working on core full-time. Okay, so guys, have you guys seen the vulnerability disclosures that came out? BitForge, Fireblocks research uncover vulnerability in over 15 major wallet providers. Did you guys see this one?
I think I saw it. I think it got mixed up in all the libitcoin dependency stuff with the BX seed. It seems like entropy is the theme of the month.
Was this the ECDSA multi-party?
Yeah, that's the ECDSA. Yes.
Cool. Well, I guess we should use Taproot.
Yeah.
You know, ECDSA was not designed for MPC.
Yeah, the difficulty is what I was going to say, right? Like the difficulty of using MPC to do like fancy stuff. Maybe I haven't really been keeping up with hacks on it, but it's the one that I feel like a lot of the MPC people keep trying to build on top of, and then it's the one that keeps getting like hacked, right?
The main value add for MPC on ECDSA is because they're supporting all these other chains, right? So perhaps this is an argument that by supporting shitcoins, you're drastically increasing the attack surface.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like this stuff was not designed for it, right?
Yeah.
Well, don't shitcoin. All right, Electrum version 4.4.6 releases fixes several Lightning-related security issues. We'll disclose these in 3 weeks. In the meantime, please upgrade. So do you guys have any sort of information on this issue?
No, I wasn't aware that they had this coming out. The Electrum team is like one of the, like they've had a Lightning implementation for a long time, but they never show up to any spec meetings. Like they don't really participate in spec discussions. So like I always forget that they have a Lightning implementation. So I'm curious to see, I'm curious to see what it is in a few weeks. And it sounds like if you're actually using it, you should probably update. I don't know.
You know what's really cool? It's like they started in 2011. They were the first Bitcoin client after Bitcoin Core, if I remember right. And it is kind of cool. I mean, the team's still active and still maintaining the wallet. That's sort of like, that's a great thing. but they do tend to sort of like live more outside of the conversation. I mean, can't blame people for doing that, but it's I don't know. I am not super familiar on how the Lightning sort of spec conversations work, where all that takes place, but seems that way.
Nifty, you want to just like talk about how there's bi-weekly meetings and just give the brief synopsis?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think what MVK was saying about like them kind of just doing their own thing really is true. Most of the other, I'm like always, I would say there's 4 other Lightning implementations, and I think someone from them shows up every week. Every 2 weeks, we do open calls with like this one person from all the other 4 is always on the call every week. But I haven't seen, so this happen every 2 weeks. Their open invite, I think it's listed on the in the actual like Lightning specs. There's like a note about when we meet and how to join the chat. So if you want to join, it's like you can go find it in the Lightning specs in the contributing document, I think. Yeah, but they don't show up. They haven't shown up at least in the last few years. So yeah, people are always like, yeah, I use Lightning. I'm on the Electrum thing, and I'm like, oh, I didn't like. It's good to hear that they're still working on it, because they definitely don't really seem to like appear above like, the fold, so to speak, very often.
Is the Python implementation that they use or they created something that is used by other people?
Literally have no idea. Like, I have no idea what this team is. I don't know who's working on it. I don't know like what they think of Lightning. I don't know like how much stuff they've implemented. Like, are they gonna do splicing? Like, do they want to do splicing? Like, yeah, this is like I literally have like no idea. I don't even know what their like implementation is called. Like, is it just called Electrum? Like, yeah, they're like kind of, they don't post to the mailing list. Like, I don't know where people find out information about their stuff, other than like it seems like they tweet out when they've got security issues. So maybe I should make sure I'm following the Electrum Twitter if I want to get updates. Yeah.
I mean, they still make a fantastic wallet.
Yeah, about a year ago, I remember, when me and Kiara at Blockstream tried to have the newsletter for the Bolt stuff. We were looking through the implementations. There are like a handful that, don't really show up to the Bolt spec, but they kind of keep up. When I was looking for the Electrum implementation, I couldn't find any repo, but they did have a presentation highlighting the features it had. But I was curious whether their Python implementation was from scratch or whether they're using CLN under the hood. There's another one that's like more fringe and even less known, but I believe they have an open source repo. It was called like Ptarmigan or something like that back in the day. Some like embedded Japanese solution company. And then of course you have your other forks like the RGB folks, like the LNBP stuff, and then the simple Bitcoin wallet or whatever. So I think there are like a handful of these, but like you said, Nifty, it's hard to kind of keep track of what they're doing.
Well, it's just nice to see more implementations. Who knows? Maybe they'll participate more.
Yeah, it's fine. And maybe they don't have to participate, right? Like, I think it's fine if they don't. It's just always like, I just forget that they do stuff, and then they pop up and you're like, oh, right, you guys do that. Like, cool. Yeah. And it's like, I wish I knew where to find out more about what they're up to, because it's like, I don't know, I'm a little bit nosy. I like knowing what people are up to. I don't think they use CLN. I think they are like a pure Python implementation.
Yes, probably.
They don't use CLN.
The whole code base. No, the whole Electrum stack is Python based. It's a bit macaroni because of the age of it. It's like 12 years of code.
They carried the torch when Bitcoin Core was awful, and then Armory kind of bounced, right? So they kind of held down the fort and have inspired this generation of solutions like Spectre and Sparrow. It's very nice.
They're pretty good with PRs. We have a quote card plugin with Electrum, and they're pretty good at merging things and being responsive. I forgot the name of the main maintainer, OG. What was his name? Is it Mark? No, anyways, I can't remember anymore. But he does show up to conferences. I think he talked at Advancing Bitcoin this last one. So anyways, so version 4.4.6 Lightning fix cannot sweep from channel after local force close is if you use imported channel backup. And then they have some hardware wallet updates. Trezor supports longer than 9-character PIN codes, much needed for that one. Jade support more custom-built DIY Jade devices. Builds binaries include AppStream, metainfo.xml in the tarball, fix exceptions in some callbacks got lost and not logged.
It does look like Electrum's Lightning code is all actually in Python on their repo.
They'll be aligned with how they've always coded. It used to be PyCoin. I think PyCoin used to be the wallet stack for Electrum way back. I think they upgraded to something else. Anyways. Right. So nix-bitcoin, Nifty, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about nix-bitcoin stuff. Really kind of just want to shill the nix-bitcoin conference that's going to happen coming up in October in Berlin, 6th and 7th. So it's not something that so nix-bitcoin is like really great. I've been using NixOS on one of it's like how I've been running my Lightning node. Actually, nodes. I have like 2 separate Lightning nodes running right now. And they're both set up using nix-bitcoin, which is like a project that's been around for a few years. Like I think it's been around as long as I've been in Bitcoin, I want to say. And that's since like 2018, right? So like I think Jonas Nick was really big at getting this going. Maybe I think Eric Syrian from Fetty was like a really big early contributor to like the nix-bitcoin project. We're doing a nix-bitcoin focused conference again in Berlin. It's going to be the first weekend in October, the 6th and 7th. And hopefully it's just an opportunity for everyone who's using Nix to come and talk about how they're using it. If you're interested in nix-bitcoin or Nix in general or NixOS and like how it can help like deploy software faster, get more people up and running on your like open source project quicker by having all your dependencies declared in Nix. You're gonna have like a whole 2-day discussion, maybe hackathon, workshops, etc. Yeah, I guess like maybe the question I could like turn to like the rest of y'all is like, okay, do you guys know what Nix is? Like, is there anything about Nix maybe that I could talk about that would make people understand? Like, yeah.
I'm a Nix OG thanks to Jonas. It was he showed it to me I think like in mid 2020, and then Constantine also, who's now at Lightning Labs, he showed it to me I think 2019. The whole project has been very interesting. Of course, for those unfamiliar, Nix is like a special distro of Linux, but they've kind of focused around their functional package manager, and they have focus on deterministic or reproducible builds, I should say. And it's kind of along the lines of how Bitcoin itself switched from Gideon to Geeks. It's that, but as like a package manager, so any dependency is hashed out, and ideally you build the exact software because of all the dependencies. It's not bootstrappable like Geeks, but it's meant to be, I guess, like a fair compromise in between. I specifically like the nix-bitcoin node because Nix, their shell, you can deploy stuff. I think of it almost like Ansible. You can quickly just test out nodes and different configurations. This seemed like the holy grail when the Lightning implementations were kind of going through their own quarrels, because just by adjusting a single config file, you can have an LND node and a CLN node, not to mention all the other stuff that they've had on there for a long time, like BTC Pay Server, Join Market. So it was really cool. Jonas Nick has been kind of holding down the fort for a long time. Like you said, Nifty, I think 2018 or 19. And I believe Russell Connor showed it to him. And then there was this other guy, nix-bitcoin dev, who helped him manage a lot of stuff as well, but I don't know how active he is. And then Donner Lab, I believe, was the first company, Constantine's gaming company back in the day, that did Lightning gaming. They're the ones that used it in prod. So that was interesting. Things really took off. And then I guess Donner Lab monetization stuff, it didn't seem like it was big enough to, warrant having venture or anything like that. So I think they winded that down. But your hackathon's Nifty seemed like another huge fit. Cody showed up, and then now just to set up those replets that also use NixOS with those flakes, it's fantastic for just quickly setting up like the environments you need. It's fantastic. Trying to think of other things. A lot of companies actually started to use NixOS now too. And so there's Nix, the functional package manager, Nix, the language, and NixOS, the operating system. So it gets very confusing quickly. But yeah, I'm a huge fan. You can watch like an old video where I shilled it at TabConf in 2021. There's been things like when the pseudo CV happened, they were okay because I think they, by that time, switched to BSD's DOAS implementation. And then the whole approach they take is very well thought out. It's least privilege. So huge fan, love nix-bitcoin, big Jonas Nick stan, so yeah.
Is it reproducible?
Yes, it is reproducible, and they don't use the traditional file system hierarchical standard. They have something else called a nix store. So they have all the dependencies, and they hash out the derivations, and you can do a way that we're used to, like, for example, like apt, like you do nix-env to get, I guess, the cached binary, or you can build it, and the build, of course, is suggested, and you don't have to do the system-wide pinning. You could do nix shell and just have it in that specific
Very nice
terminal. Yeah.
So when are we gonna see a BSD Bitcoin OS?
That's on the wizards like you. I'm more of like the latter generation that probably will mess with the Nix. I know Linux is a shitcoin, but yeah.
We should put a bounty. We should put a bounty for Nifty's hackathon for somebody to put together a probably NetBSD would be the best candidate to make a Bitcoin version of it.
The best part, in my opinion, about the
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
well, the best part, in my opinion, I'll just be quick, is with the Nix store, you have rollbacks. So if anything breaks, then when you go to your system build, you can do Nix, I believe it's like rebuild switch, and then you could go back to the last build for your entire OS that worked. So big fan. And then, like I said, you can keep the flake in your GitHub. So whenever you initialize any computer for that Nix Bitcoin node, you just drop in that flake. Of course, you don't have the state, but you don't have to deal with the installation hell.
Right. Sorry, Nifty, you were asking something about.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I don't know a lot about BSD, but I think that like Nix would, like, if you've got Nix, I think you could probably install Nix as a package manager for it, which would let you, if a project had like a Nix shell or a Nix flake. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's like, so BSD is monolithic, right? That's kind of like the main way of doing it. That's why it would be really cool for Bitcoin, because you wouldn't be able to mess with it. Like, once it's reproducible and once all the packages and everything is set, you can make the distribution as a monolith, and then you and it can be signed right at boot. You'll be quite intense. A lot of like very, very deep like security systems use NetBSD because it's not flexible once it's built.
But Nifty for
okay.
For Macs and even Linux, others, you can use the Nix package manager. You absolutely can, and yeah, I think it's fun. You should like try it out. Yeah.
Very cool. So Nifty, just being a OS boomer here, if you want to put a bounty there on your hackathon for somebody to make it, we should sidebar later.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'd be down. More to come in this space, y'all, for listeners. They posted.
It's pretty amazing project. Do you guys know if Tails is taking any hints from Nix OS for their Bitcoin packages?
No idea, but that would be ideal if basically we could get a bunch of Bitcoin software as flakes and in that bootable USB, then we're golden. Just like Electrum, if we could have more like Sparrow in there, that's like the other holy grail. And I think so. I wanted to quickly add this because Nix OS isn't foolproof or like perfect per se. Because I think either way, you're reaching out for each of these dependencies, right?
That's
It might
right.
not be a cached binary, but this is on a server somewhere. So I think their hosting costs are adding up. That's where they're eating a lot of pain.
They should apply to Opensats. It sounds like something that's fundable.
Well, I think this is Nix OS, not Nix Bitcoin, but absolutely Nix Bitcoiners. Please apply to OpenSats. We need more of your contributions. Thank you.
There you go. All right, Blockstream Green, iOS version 4.0.11, updated GDK, improved signing and ledger, improved Bluetooth scanning, added address authentication for single sig software wallets, UI improvements to Lightning accounts. By the way, guys, as I do updates, feel free to jump in. I'll give a little blank space because of the delay after I finish reading the thing, and you guys feel free to jump in and sort of, if you have opinions about the project or update.
I was just going to ask if any of you guys had used the Lightning integration on Green yet, because it looks like it's shipped now. I haven't tried it out yet. Because I don't know, it seemed kind of cool. I've been wanting, I'm guessing that's on top of Greenlight, right? Maybe you guys already talked about Greenlight shipping on Green. It's been coming for like years, and it looks like it's like now they've finally like able to get to it as a user. Like that's kind of exciting.
Yep, I have not used it either, Nifty, but I'm so proud of Blockstream's Green team, of course, Christian Decker, who's been hacking away at Greenlight, and then also Roy and his team at Breeze. I believe they might be using the Breeze SDK under the hood that has like the LSP features on top of Greenlight for the liquidity that Green would require. So I think it's wonderful to see Blockstream finally add Lightning to Green. It seems like, Blockstream, they supported CLN, so it was only a matter of time, and huge kudos to all those guys over there, Larry, Ale, Domenico, Shahana, who probably did the UI. Great job.
No, I haven't tried Green yet. I've used Green way back, and way back when Larry used to call it Green Address, but I haven't tried with Lightning yet. I've been on what have I been on?
Albi and Zeus, that's your stack.
Albi, Zeus, Phoenix, and what's the name? Breeze. And I think there's one more on the phone. I don't know. And Mutiny. I'm starting to lose my Lightning bucks, because I keep on like installing new wallets and forgetting Lightning bucks in them. Nadav, what Lightning wallet do you use?
I have a few
I
set
use
up, but at
Phoenix.
this point, oh.
Go ahead.
I think all of my channels have closed at this point. I've kind of not been active enough in looking after things, so I'm gonna have to set some stuff up when I get the time, probably before going to TabConf.
There you go. Yeah, you need the Lightning bucks to pay for things in conferences now. It's like Bitcoin for payments is finally happening.
I know, it's so exciting. It's really exciting.
Nifty, what was the wallet?
That I use Phoenix for most stuff on my phone. Like I have a core Lightning node that I run on a server at home, and like I don't know, I find it really hard to set up with like I really wanted to get like Zeus working with my phone so I could use it on my phone, but I don't want to have to set up like the whatever it is that you have to use, like the HTTP auth thing. So I don't know. Core Lightning just shipped the built-in Rust server, so I'm really hoping people will start like making apps that work with that, so I can use a pretty UI on my home Core Lightning node. Okay, but Phoenix is like my daily driver basically on my phone these days.
Cool.
And then that's on Android, Nifty, because I know there's a distinction now between like iOS Phoenix and Android Phoenix. I believe the Android Phoenix is the one with the hipster splicing, right?
It is, yeah. I'm on iOS. Yeah. So I'm behind the times a little bit on that one. But yeah,
I am an iOS maximalist too.
It's a nice phone. I don't know. But yeah, so iOS stuff.
All right, Bitcoin Tribe version 2.2.1 now uses border wallets to create and restore Tribe. Bitcoin Keeper version 1.1.4 now create collaborative wallet without subscription, UX improvements to the flow. Ronin UI version 2.2.0 better Whirlpool CLI status, ability to log in and out of Whirlpool CLI, ability to run and install mempool space visualizer, ability to switch between indexers, ability to enable disable BIS connections. Every log section now has its own URL. 10.10.1 version 1.2.1 add support for push notifications, added new settings to coordinator to configure max channel size to traders, speed up DLC channel setup and settlements by checking for messages more often. Nadav, you're a DLC guy. Do you know this project?
True. I've not heard of this project, and I'm very curious now. Do any of you know about it? I didn't know more people were supporting DLC stuff.
Yeah, so this guy's been... I haven't tried it. Rindell knows them, if I remember from the last couple episodes. They've been around now for a few months, and it seems like it's actually a fully functional project. They have like a little market there on this project.
I haven't played with it either, but I believe they're out of the first Wolf batch, correct?
Yes, I think so.
So is it like Rust DLC backend kind of situation?
Don't know. Let's take a look.
So I see a lot of it's written in Rust, so I assume that would be what they were using. But that's cool to see that people are... I'm starting to hear every once in a while about more and more people, especially using Rust DLC.
Yeah. I mean, we actually call it crust here on the show until the project decides to accept Bitcoin as the winner again. I mean, you know what we should do? We should probably have them come over at some point and explain this whole project, because it seems to be quite involved and quite a few things going on there.
Nadav, Rust DLC was, I believe, maintained by Tebow out at Crypto Garage, right? And the probably dopest thing that they've done, I think, was like December or November last year, where they did the Lightning or DLC in a Lightning channel. I believe they released.
Yeah, they're definitely the.
Yeah.
Rust DLC has been working on implementing DLC channels. I guess it's not. I don't think that it's literally in a Lightning wallet, but kind of going for something to have like a persistent state channel that you can have DLCs on, with the idea that in the future that could be also a Lightning channel and these kinds of things. But yeah, it's all very cool, exciting stuff.
Can I give you a stick of dynamite, Nadav? Are you open to it?
Are you lighting it in my hands, or?
Yeah, I might light the fuse and hand it over. Would you accept it?
Do I have a choice? You're the one with the dynamite.
All right. How does APO or CTV make these DLCs and Lightning channels easier?
Oh man. So I'm like there are all sorts of ways, and it's all very like there's so many options for how you could do things in these different setups, and they all have different trade-offs. But I guess the point is that without APO CTV or CTV, we don't have all of those options, and so people in different situations are forced to just do the same kind of less fun revocation penalty kind of channel schemes. So I think it's probably pretty similar to the situation Lightning faces for most of its fancier kind of layer 2 stuff beyond just, Alice pays Bob. And even sometimes Alice pays Bob. It would benefit a lot from APO and CTV, especially when it comes to things like backups. Like backups are really hard on layer 2 these days.
Well, since the dynamite was lit here, so I mean, if you guys had to assign a likelihood chance in order, we don't have to assign a number, but What do you guys think most of the consensus that's not fully public is leaning towards? Is it T-Love? Is it APO? Is it CTV? Is it a mix of things? How are you guys feeling?
I will gladly accept the dynamite stick back. I personally think APO was in the forefront maybe a year and a half ago. I think the way Jeremy Rubin went about the speedy trial kind of backfired, but it seems like after James O'Byrne, put forth OpVault and stuff, it seems like CTV, I think, is the most likely. However, I feel all of them are very unlikely at this point because it's so contentious. I think many people are very focused on what they want. Some people want LN symmetry. Other people just want, how Nadav was saying, like a backup or like a emergency reactive way to secure their funds via CTV. So it's going to be spicy like that. I was personally leaning more APO, but now I'm quite indifferent because I do like DLCs because I like degenerate gambling ideas, and supposedly CTV simplifies doing all those degenerate gambling ideas. So I think I'm completely indifferent, but I think out of all this soft fork drama stuff, the most waste of time, least concern thing to further put the dynamite in like a nuclear silo is drive chains. Drive chains, absolute waste of time. Sorry, Paul Stork and Henry.
Nifty, do you have opinions?
Yeah, I think that so like my opinion about it. All right, so Lightning like desperately needs Lightning symmetry is kind of I guess what my opinion is, and I think my other thing is probably like sort of controversial is that I really hate that APO got dragged into the covenants conversation. I think that like getting covenants is cool and exciting. I think it's just like a really unfortunate that APO like accidentally can like back you into getting like inefficient covenants, if that makes sense. Like if I would be like happier about the covenants conversation, I feel like, and like probably a little more willing to engage in it if I felt like APO was just like not also I feel like people are always like including APO in this discussion, and like because it becomes like part of this, well, we have to consider all these different things because like we're talking about covenants. It's like, okay, well, if you forget about the covenants thing, I feel like APO is like definitely like a shoe-in, and there's like not really a lot of conversation that I've seen around like APO by itself being problematic. Like I feel like the big point of discussion is like, okay, well, are we doing covenants? What do covenants look like, etc.? And then you like kind of end up in this like larger conversation with like different opinions about aesthetics, etc. And I'm like, okay, but like I don't know. I guess I'm like APO is like such an I would call it kind of like an elegant way of like doing LN symmetry, and like you don't have to think about like new opcodes or like any like real sort of I don't know. I just feel like like adding a new opcode, maybe this is like my own bias, feels like very lightweight because like it's literally at like the signature level. You don't have to commit to anything extra in code really. Like it's got kind of like this really like almost invisible light like add-on to existing stuff, and we could like just do that, and then we could get symmetry, and then I would be happy to like participate in all these other conversations about covenants.
So
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Let me add this wrench into this in this thinking just for a second. So ignore like that you are a Lightning proponent for a minute. What would be the technology that would help us like in the most generic way for other things that sort of like help Bitcoin regardless of Lightning existing, right? So if we had to pick a thing, right, that adds some asymmetry and maybe even introspection on the UTXO that you're being signed, what would be the choice?
And don't say simplicity because that's 10 years out.
Yeah, no, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. There is 100,000 diff on that one.
Wait, okay, hang on. I didn't quite understand like the setup here. Could you walk me through exactly like what I'm having to make a decision on one more time?
Yeah, so imagine Lightning doesn't exist, okay, for a second. So you don't have that bias. And think we're trying to have some of these more interesting features, right? So some asymmetry, some introspection on the UTXO level, and so that we can, it's more than just covenants, right? You're just having more advanced ways of building transactions. What would be the technology that you'd pick if you were trying to find a more general purpose solution here that allows us to do other things that maybe different people will want out of Bitcoin if we could only pick one thing going forward?
You're not going to like this answer at all. I'm sorry.
Please do. No. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for an answer I like.
I'm gonna get in trouble for this one. Maybe this is like the troll answer. It would be like up CSV, up CLTV, because all we really need is time locks. That's totally sidestepping the question.
It's Mimblewimble time.
I like the answer. That's pretty based.
So without the laughter, do you want to like just repeat so that the listeners can hear and sort of like explain why you like those two options?
Yeah. So this is kind of like, I don't know, the OG covenants. Like, what is a covenant? It's saying, it's like adding a condition like of spend, right? So like when you have your Bitcoin and you're not allowed to spend it until a certain condition has reached, right? A lot of people, like, the covenants discussion, a lot about that is like, how powerful should we be able to like set conditions on when Bitcoin or where Bitcoin is, under what conditions Bitcoin is like spendable again, right? And how long should you be able to like make those conditions last for? Is it as long as this locking script exists? Is it like for 10 extra locking scripts? Like, these are all just like questions that you start getting in the covenant space. And one of the things is like, okay, well, we already technically introduced like primitive covenants when we added opCSV and opCLTV. And the covenant style thing that they allow for is time, right? So you can like, what do you call it? So like, CSV and CLTV, these are like two opcodes that already exist in Bitcoin Core. They had to be added before Lightning could even happen. Because you need time.
But here's the issue though. You can't really do covenants with those without re-rolling.
Time is a covenant, right? Like the covenant is I'm not allowed to spend it for like 2 weeks or 10 weeks or 50 years.
But if you spend any UTXO from that, you have to roll them back into a new time lock.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But it's like it's a condition on spend, right? And you can make them such that you can never spend it or like not spend it for like, I don't know, 100,000 years or something.
And here's one more that it's an issue that I find with those is that they don't have any introspection, right? So they're unaware of how many UTXOs and like the units of Bitcoin are being spent. So you cannot have velocity. So you can't say, okay, fine, we're going to use just those. So you can only spend in 10 blocks from now. But you can't say you can only spend one Bitcoin 10 blocks from now.
Right. They're really primitive. But I guess I'm kind of a little funny nutty. I guess, maybe I'm a little reactionary and just like haven't really looked at, honestly haven't spent that much time looking at the covenant stuff. But like I'm like, maybe we don't need that. That sounds complicated. Like, why are we trying to make Bitcoin more complicated? Like, it's just money. Why are we trying to like make money more whatever? Like all these extra use cases, like I feel like we're just getting farther from the truth of money. But again, like I realize I'm probably in not the majority among developers. Yeah. I mean, Lightning, honestly, look, Lightning needed the time locks. Lightning, like when you study like you actually figure out how like Lightning is working with like its HTLC, like two-step structure, etc. Like Lightning is like, pretty covenant-y in terms of like having to do 2 transactions to whatever. We just managed to do it with like, the primitives, the very primitive stuff we already have in Bitcoin. Maybe I shouldn't call it primitive. That makes it sound like less advanced than it is. But yeah, I don't know.
I think it's a very fair position to take. I think my main issue is if we don't find a means of having like vaults. SPAC, not talking about vaults per se, but finding a way of having some form of vault that is on-chain controlled with some velocity is going to be very hard in the future for people to hold their money. I already see how hard it is with hardware wallets. So like just, I don't know, maybe with Frost we can de-risk some of the stuff and it gets better, right? But I feel like we need something and we're not quite there yet. And I'm okay that this proposals take, years still. Like we're not in a hurry for anything. Nadav, do you have any opinions on those SPACs? Same question to you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I like both and am biased in the other way, where I the things I enjoy about Bitcoin have to do with like conditions you can spend things on and how to play around with them, and like DLCs are essentially just like a big abuse, well, not abuse, maybe use of signatures and kind of the off-chain stuff you can do with signatures to kind of enforce all sorts of conditions, which I guess I do like the idea of, kind of the Mimblewimble style, all you need are Schnorr signatures and time locks as a great way to kind of be super productive with things that you can already do, for example, in Bitcoin. And a lot of like the point time lock contract ideas and all these kinds of other adapter signature things came out of thinking about that. But I definitely, I don't know enough about details to like speak technically about things beyond a high level for either APO or CTV, but I get the impression that both of them kind of give you new options for what your trees of transactions can look like, and kind of in the best case let you do a bunch of stuff without having to go on chain, which is of course cool.
The only thing about like, it's just like when people compare APO and CTV, I just want to like be like, okay, but like APO can immediately get its own symmetry and CTV can't. Like CTV like needs that plus something else.
For sure. Yeah, very different transaction tree effects.
Yeah, they're not like, they're just like, they're not equivalent from like, at least, obviously I'm like very much a Lightning like symmetry shell. So like, yeah, I don't know.
If I can steelman both, the APO crowd tends to be like, look, APO is just a SIG hash. Like, what's the big deal? And the CTV crowd, they're like, look, it's very scoped. There's no crazy recursive, unforeseen side effects that APO might have, because we don't know how exactly things will play out. We don't know all the side effects, and then that's where the conversations devolve.
I generally, when I think about APO, don't think about covenant related things, because I don't know. Whenever I see like the really fancy, Andrew Polstra blog posts about like, I found a way to use these opcodes to like hack together, some kind of covenant or other kind of thing like that, I'm always like, that's really cool and scary, but also I don't think anyone should do that. Like it's certainly not best practice as it is there.
And then to go back to what MVK was saying, no rush, right? Like, I don't know why we can't do a lot of this off chain with some nested music stuff, any like aggregation tricks that.
But I want nice Lightning channels now.
Well, we all have our needs. And I have a feeling that the biggest issue that is ruining the conversation is that like people want the stuff yesterday, and I don't think you can have any of these things within like less than many years. So if people switch the conversation to let's keep on talking about it because it's not going to happen for many years still, the pressure and the expectation will drop, and the conversation will become higher signal. We should still dunk on drive chains, of course, because it's never going to happen.
100%.
All right, so Trezor version 23.8.1, new feature, CoinJoin now available on Trezors. That's Wasabi CoinJoin. Reboot bootloader without needing to reconnect to Trezor Model T. Just stop in place of pause and cancel in CoinJoin account. improve CoinJoin information pages, terms and conditions, and reduced installation file size. Remember that the CoinJoin here does send all your inputs to chain analysis, because that's how it works. So, use it, govern yourself accordingly. Project Spotlight, Smart Vaults by formerly Coinstr. Smart Vaults is a Bitcoin native application that unlocks the power of Miniscript, Taproot, and Schnorr signatures, enabling the creation of advanced policies with control over weights, and thresholds. Nostr relays are used for discovery and coordination of signatures. Very cool. This is very interesting. Do you guys know anything about this?
No, first time hearing of it. I like that they're
Well,
using
that's why we do this show.
Nostr for coordination. That's cool. Yeah, it's cool.
Because I have absolutely no idea about half these projects. Now, the Nostr coordination, I think, is super interesting, especially because you can bypass HTTP and it's signed. What else? They're using BDK as well. That's nice too. Lots of interesting stuff here on the details in the show notes. Nodeyez contains a variety of Python scripts to produce images based on your Bitcoin node. I checked the website, very pretty. Lots of cool little visualizations of the data. And I think you can run it on a Raspberry Pi with a screen. That's a good use for a Raspberry Pi, not a hardware wallet. That's great. And I think you can run it on your computer too. Cool project. Satoshi Agent, a chatbot trained on all Satoshi's public statements using LangChain. The chat charges 10 sats using WebLN for each user interaction.
Is this like the L402 stuff?
I'm not sure. Royllo Explorer, an open source search engine for Taproot assets living on the Bitcoin blockchain. We're starting, that's the second one here on this list that's claiming to do stuff with Taproot. Taproot is happening.
Very much so.
It's happening.
It's happening.
I like that. That's very punny.
They're very good. Sovereign Stack. Sovereign Stack is a complete network solution enabling you to deploy Bitcoin-centric websites infrastructure among one or more of your home or office locations. Don't know much about this one. SeedHammer. Steel backup specialized for Bitcoin multisig wallets. Self-contained recover with minimum of shares. QR codes for easy recovery, air gap signing, works with all signers or in hardware wallets. This SeedHammer is that pneumatic little engraver, right? The one that just pounds them in. I love those little machines.
Yeah, it looks like a DIY affordable CNC kit or something. It's pretty cool.
Just remember, kids, if you're putting private key material through Raspberry Pis, make sure you shoot them after you're done. I'm being serious. It's a general purpose computer. Destroy the device after use. Chaincase. Chaincase frees your coins from their linear public history without ever taking control. What is this? Like a coin mixing website?
I see the word CoinJoin. This is all I know about it.
I think it's PayJoin, and it's funded by the HRF, so I think they've done a little bit of due diligence. It seems interesting. You should look more into it. Cool. Nice to see more privacy stuff happening. Any other Bitcoin projects that we didn't mention on the spotlight that we should mention before we get to the ham and lightning?
I think on the note of privacy, there have been other silent payments developments, and I believe Dan Gold's what's it called, PDK payment or PayJoin development kit. Those should definitely be checked out too. It seems like there's going to be a lot more privacy solutions in general, and then I'm very curious how splicing will get incorporated into that. So yeah, I think it's great to see more offerings. Hopefully we get actual stuff out in the wild and boost adoption, because these all are dependent on the usage and like the anon sets, right?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be more excited about all the solutions when there is good UX for decentralized coordination CoinJoin. Until it's decentralized, it's very little interest. And join markets does work, but it's very hard for people to use. Do you guys, I mean, without doxing yourselves, I mean, do you guys use CoinJoin at all?
I used it like once a long time ago, and decided it was very expensive. I have like a set of, I have like coins that I feel like are pretty off-grid coins, but I don't really use the CoinJoin stuff. I think my whole thing is like I'd rather like use Lightning and use like the dual funded channel stuff, and hopefully splicing when that comes up, and just like use Lightning for privacy rather than using mixers. But I realize like not everyone has that same approach to privacy.
I kind of feel similar.
I'm also excited for when in the future, like things like Lightning channels or DLCs or all these other kind of stuff happening off-chain protocols, when you have to go on-chain, if we have some way to just mix everyone's, Lightning channel opens in one big transaction, that would be pretty cool.
To once again pick up the dynamite stick that's already exploded, all the soft forks aren't as important as cross-input signature aggregation that Fabian Yar
Yes.
sponsored on. Thank you, Fabian.
Yes. When?
Do we have a flashy name yet? Where's the marketing department?
Let's call it the Better Bitcoin fork.
BBF?
You can't argue if the word better is on it. and save the children.
Yeah. So the CoinJoin stuff is interesting for me. I've also used all of them at least once. It's been a while though, so maybe the UX has changed. Like I haven't used like the Jamster or what Joinster box or whatever that like join markets now on like Raspberry Pi, Node in a Box solutions like Umbrel. But my big like thing is a lot of these people are privacy LARPs. It's like some weird martyr I'm against the state thing. They'll probably call me a statist for even saying this, but I just think it's very naive. Like they don't understand the OSI model.
Statist.
Yeah, exactly. They don't understand the OSI model. They don't understand all the fucking cables, the switches, everything in between. Probably all the backdoors and the dependencies. Like I don't know who they think they're hiding from, but in the event like they're bidding on something or they're paying a landlord or things like that, it's definitely useful that whoever you're paying doesn't know your full wallet amount, right? Imagine like I'm a shitcoiner bidding on some inscriptions or something. It's very bad if like in the auction the opponent knows your total wallet size that you're going to bid from. So in these cases, I think it's actually very valuable to CoinJoin. But it's up to every individual to decide if the premium's actually worth it. And then that whole argument that like, oh, like the state's going to come back because you KYC'd your coins. It's a lot of these people don't understand Tor. It's like a black box for them. They don't understand that the Navy has funded it. It's very half-assed and it's very tribal.
I think you've made some good observations there. It's a This happens. It's like security of coins is the same thing. Unless you're like an ultra wizard, you're probably gonna fuck it up if you're trying to do some very sort of convoluted solution, right? And I think people really greatly don't understand how deep the state is into all the devices and the network and everything else. And also how easy it is for you to screw up a tiny little thing and dox yourself too, right? To a state actor kind of level. And at the same time, yes, it is practical to make sure that, the exchange you're sending funds to doesn't know how much funds you have, right? Or essentially finding some protection against like the low-hanging fruit attackers who shouldn't know how much coins you have. So I think the conversation is more nuanced than some of the privacy enthusiasts push and some of the full KYC people push, right? It's kind of somewhere in the middle.
Exactly.
Now, talking about comms And this one I'm just gonna stick it in because I'm trying to get Bitcoiners into ham. M17 is a community open source project for radio enthusiasts that's trying to do a digital protocol for data and voice that sort of like leverages existing hardware. It's a very cool project, very interesting approach. I'm not gonna get into the weeds on this, but the only drawback on this one is that right now, if you want to use it, you have to buy off-the-shelf Chinese radios, and you have to do some modding to them. But I have a feeling that the Chinese chip makers will take a hint from this, and they will add the mods to the hardware so that they find a new market. The problem is some of these mods, or like if the vendors do some of this stuff, they lose the type approved designation. So, for example, it's harder to get imported into first world countries. So that just goes to show that essentially the state does not want you to have encrypted comms and portable comms. So, for all the people who, think Android and, all this cool stuff will give you, great privacy and things, just understand this thing goes very deep into the hardware. And check out M17. Maybe somebody can make a wallet-to-wallet system or some more interesting other things with it. Transaction broadcasting and lightning comms. This is a very interesting path for that. All right, Lightning and L2, software releases and project updates. C Lightning version 23.08 RC3, Satoshi's successor. Taproot support, Renepay developed, splice funds into in or out of live channels. Nifty, do you have some commentary on C Lightning?
Yeah, I can talk about core lightning. Yeah, this is one of our biggest releases of the year, I think, in terms of just like number of features that we're rolling out all at once. There's a reason it says RC3 right now. That's release candidate. That's because means we haven't like hit final, like everyone ready to update yet. We're working through like, just kind of like getting all the kinks out of all the new code. But yeah, this is like super exciting. It's going to have our like an experimental draft of splicing. I say experimental because it means that we haven't tested interop with the Eclair node yet. And once that happens, it'll be considered like done. I also should mention that this version of splicing, it's going to be kind of hard to use. Like we haven't put in all the like user-friendly RPCs yet. That will definitely be in the release after this one. But it's there, like all the like, all the basic bare bone, whatever way of doing a splice is like in this release, which is exciting. Yeah, so that's coming out. The Renepay thing is super, super cool. I can talk about that a little bit. Do you guys know what Renepay is? Like how well known is Renepay stuff? I mean, I can like explain.
No clue. Never heard before.
Okay, yeah. So Rene Pickard, it's named after Rene Pickard. A couple years ago at this point, he's like, hey guys, I've got this like idea about how we should be doing payment pathfinding on Lightning using like multi-path payments. I figured out like this algorithm, or there's like a, kind of a long-standing routing algorithm called min cost flow, or MCF for short. If we use this and some probabilities based on, where we think liquidity is in Lightning, we can vastly improve our ability to make payments on Lightning. So basically the idea is you get like less failures because you're figuring out like the best probability of how your payments are going to like reach the final destination, which is cool. So yeah, so this is like, it's taken them a couple of years. You got like a collaborator who's the one who wrote most of this code. So now core Lightning is adding so now we're going to have two routing. You can like use one, you can either use like the current pay method, which will use one routing algorithm to try and figure out how to split up payments and send them to your peers. Or you can use this new method. It's basically also implemented as like a Lightning plugin, where you can call Renee Pay and give it a bolt 11 to pay, or an invoice basically, and it'll like try and pay the invoice for you. So it's cool. Like I think there's a couple of cool things that this highlights. Like one, like how cool the plugin system is, because it lets like an outside contributor come in and like pretty much without having to touch any core Lightning code, rate their own like routing algorithm, and then we can like add that and ship it with core Lightning. And like, so you can use either the original like pay function, or you can use this new one because it's just like kind of like added on, sort of like dropped in extension, which is cool. Yeah.
This is the third routing algorithm that CLN has now experimented with, right? If I remember correctly, there was Bellman Forward or something. Then you guys switched to Dijkstra, and then now you're adding also Renee Pay as an option. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's true. We had to move away for the Bellman Ford one for a reason I don't remember. But yeah. So we so you can't technically use Bellman Ford. I think you can still use the Dijkstra one or this new one. I think main cost flow uses Dijkstra under the hood, fun fact. It just kind of changes like some of the scoring that you use for how you like kind of like the parameters that you're using for Dijkstra. I don't know how important that is, but fun fact.
Well, I asked because I took a look into Dijkstra, and I noticed you can't have negative edges, and I was always curious about negative fees for balancing. And I remember you had like some sort of proposal or idea, and then also like the fee rate cards. How does that all mix in with this new Renee Pay option?
Yeah, that's a great question. So like I think the first thing is like when you do negatives, there's a way to adjust them such that when you pass it into a routing algorithm, they actually look like positive numbers. Like you can adjust you can like do adjustments such that you can still use Dijkstra as the first place. So it's not like it does in theory cut out Dijkstra, but there's like workarounds you can do to like make it work. So it's not like the worst thing. I think the reality about like, okay, like if you want to like start adding like negative weighted edges, I think first of all, you're going to have to rewrite a lot of these, pretty much every routing algorithm that's currently finding paths in Lightning is going to have to be updated to like be able to take those into account, because like no one's routing algorithms do that currently. So that would probably be like the biggest thing. Yeah, I had a proposal. I want to say it was last year. I don't even remember how long ago that was now. I think it was a year ago, which I have not done any work on because I've been busy with other things. But yeah, there's like, I think there's a couple proposals about how to do possibly negative weighted edges for fees. So basically you would get paid to send a payment. More money would end up at the destination than left the train. Like, how much left the train station is less than arrives at the final destination is kind of one way to think about like negative fees, right? You end up pushing more than you started with. But yeah, everything would have to change basically to make those possible, or like a lot of things, I think.
So probing would get destroyed, but we'd also have severe payment success issues.
Oh, I was going to ask, Nifty, do you know the Taproot address support? Is that for like outputs, funding inputs, or something else?
Yeah, so that's going to be just so Core Lightning ships with an internal wallet where you keep on-chain funds. That's just for your ability to like send and receive on-chain funds to Taproot. But it is like a first step towards getting Taproot in the channels, which hopefully will be something we can add pretty soon.
Totally.
Yeah.
Cool. Phoenix Android version 2.0.2. Sorry, 0.0. Switch the LN engine from Eclair to Lightning KMP. Support for splicing and dual funding. Improved fiat currency support. Export payment history. Wow, from Eclair to Lightning KMP, that seems like a big change.
It looks like they went from Scala to Kotlin.
Great! More obscure.
That's their Kotlin implementation. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if you count the Kotlin implementation, I think there's like 6 actively maintained Lightning implementations across like 6 different languages, right? The Eclair team or the Aslanc team does 2. They have their Scala one in their one in Scala, which is Eclair, and then they have their Kotlin one, which like Phoenix runs on, which is kind of interesting. I don't know.
Wouldn't it be easier if everybody just uses C? Works on everything.
Except everyone should use core Lightning except Windows users because Windows users don't have file descriptors or something.
No, I'm not even saying. I'm just saying C in general.
So not everyone can be like Rusty Russell or DocX, you know. We're junior programmers and we like the type safety. Leave me alone.
I think that the Kotlin implementation differs from like their Scala implementation in that the Scala one uses this framework called akka, which is all about it's an actor model based thing, and it's just really optimized for servers and routing nodes and things like that, I think is the vision that they had for Eclair. And it sounds like the Kotlin implementation is kind of more optimized for mobile wallets in its kind of design.
Cool. LND merge simple taproot channels staging branch into master.
LND adding taproot channels is fantastic. It's great to see people finally using taproot in prod. I think BitGo was the first, and they kind of highlighted some issues with being the first that they had to go back and fix. I know LND and LDK have been working to get some sort of interoperability for these taproot channels. And yeah, so LND added the simple taproot channel. I guess that means it's using Schnorr in the funding pub key and I guess commitments. That's very exciting. And this seems like the first step to PTLCs, which I'll ask Nadav to explain.
Yeah, I think they're even using like Musig to aggregate and just have like a single pub key taproot channel kind of situation. But yeah, this particular merged branch, it looks like it follows this proposed extension bolt that Lalu has up as a draft on the bolts repo. But it's kind of like the minimal taprooty thing, I think is what it says somewhere in there. And basically it uses pay to taproot key with a Musig2 key aggregated key as its kind of main way of spending. So it looks just like normal taproot single key transactions in most cases as you're using Lightning, which is really exciting. And then otherwise, I don't think that they changed all too much. They're still using HTLCs, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's definitely a step closer to like a fully realized taproot future where we replace hashes in Lightning channels with elliptic curve points, and that lets us do all sorts of fun things I've written too many blogs about, including like fun routed DLC stuff and more simple like transfer of payments and things like this.
I think you were on Chaincode's podcast maybe like 3 years ago talking about payment points. You want to explain the wormhole attack?
Yeah, so basically right now on Lightning, if you are running a couple of routing nodes, you might notice on occasion that if someone routes a payment through multiple nodes that you control, or say you and your friends control, they'll all be correlated by having the same payment hash. So not only is this kind of like not ideal from a privacy perspective, but you can actually try and run these wormhole attacks where when the payment is being completed, so people are revealing the hash preimage, say the person receiving the money reveals the hash preimage to claim their funds, and then each person then reveals it to the previous person to claim their funds. If, say, you and your friends control two nodes that are on this route, then the person closer to the receiver can not reveal the preimage to the person before them and rather just send it straight over to the other node that they control and have them reveal to claim the funds. So all in all, between the two nodes that you control, you'll have not only, not lost your money, but also you'll have stolen the fees from every routing node in between while simultaneously locking up all of the funds that were kind of en route it looks to them like it's just a failed payment that's just stuck until the timeout. And so you kind of can try and do all sorts of nasty things to your routing competitors by stealing their fees and locking up their liquidity and things like that. But PTLCs don't use the same hash on every hop. They have a tweak to the point on every hop, and so it decorrelates different hops of the same payment, and also just mathematically makes it so that nothing like a wormhole attack can exist.
Okay, so Nadav, can you explain that in farmers' terms?
Good question. So basically say that, you've got your beautiful farm on the countryside and you grow wheat and you trade in, gold coins for your wheat so that you can buy apples from your other orchard neighbor. And say that you have a system where when someone is going to pay you for your wheat, they only want to walk to their neighbor's house. They don't want to go all the way, across the county to reach you. And so you have a system where everyone just gets a little bit of money to, send it one more house over. And eventually one person ends up with the wheat and the other person ends up with the gold, except for the little bit that got subtracted off. And if someone just skips a bunch of houses and goes straight to their friend's house, it'll look to everyone in between like the wheat just got lost and they're going to get their gold coins that they locked up back. But they have to wait a while for that to happen and they won't get their fees. And you and your friend get to take all of their fees and continue on your way. I've basically changed almost nothing except for making it about farm.
That's right.
So there you go.
For the people that don't know the background on this, is that we've done a few Clubhouse sessions explaining to people Bitcoin complex terms in farmers' terms a few years ago, and I figured that this was maybe a potential for that.
I've still got it.
Still got it. Zeus version 0.8.0, opening up Zeus mainnet alpha builds to community supporter. Those who donated, reach out if you don't have access. This release feature or new embedded in-app node and LSP. This is really cool because it makes now Zeus be able to use a node locally. Albi version 3.1.0, a cosmic embrace. Every user is now able to sign transaction on Liquid Network, a Bitcoin Layer 2 smart contract. Liquid shitcoin. Web apps are now able to ask users for the wallet balance and display in their app. So I guess it's not a Lightning update this time. Nifty, how's I don't know how close are you to the Liquid project inside Blockstream?
I mean, since I've been on sabbatical, I've been pretty far from everyone at Blockstream, not including, Liquid team including.
Oh, right. I forgot that you went on sabbatical.
Yeah, I've been on sabbatical since January, so we're on month 7 of not being plugged into Blockstream stuff from the day to day. But yeah, I've been seeing more Liquid news lately, which is exciting. I feel like, I don't know, it seems like there's things happening there. Albi's adding Liquid features. I feel like, I can't remember what I saw. Oh, there's a lightning torch or liquid torch going around. I saw, I think Rindale was posting about that earlier or something. So yeah, it seems like things are liquid things are kind of happening. I feel like, assets on Bitcoin systems got popular again and everyone's like, oh wait, Liquid does that too. That's cool. But maybe I'm wrong about exactly what's happening there.
Yeah.
So I saw that there's, I think, 35,000 sats in the Liquid torch. So they're putting 2,500 sats each. I think there's 14 people that passed it. I think that's pretty good. Liquid is seeming to get more eyes on it. Pablo Greco has open sourced some of their functionary code, I guess, which is in Rust. That's interesting. However, I don't know if they've talked about what hardware it is. So it seems like things are going in the right direction. Curious to see how things play out.
Cool. I mean, I just like to say I now like Liquid again just because it's a good answer to the drive chain people. Mutiny Node version 0.4.12, 0.10, and 0.9 adds safe mode in our backend. Services are down. Safe mode can be enabled to skip them and use Mutiny on-chain only context. That's good. Handle bad metadata when syncing Nostr contacts. Allow non-zap to LND URLs. Fixed a long-standing bug where we would need to resync our on-chain history on boot every time. I am very much looking forward to Mutiny iOS app because I'm jealous now that the Android people have one. Have you guys tried Mutiny yet?
Yes, but I'll let them answer.
I haven't.
I've like poked around at it. It's really pretty. I don't think I've used it to pay for anything.
Nice.
Cool story, Lisa. Okay, yeah.
Do you even use Lightning, Lisa?
Every day, MVK, every day. Okay.
Is Lightning even real? Wallets of Satoshi version 2.2.5. Last update was permanently removed buy and sell Bitcoin option. I don't know what's going on in this project. It's very opaque development and companies. So and it's also custodial. So be careful. Blink version 2.2.111. Pay code to use Bitcoin wallet as receiver descriptor. Clams version 1.8.3, a free and open source browser interface for securely and remotely controlling your core Lightning node. Look at that, Lisa. It's a Zoo's alternative for you.
Yeah, I use them on my desktop, and it's great. They're coming out with more features soon, which I'm also extremely excited about. They don't have I guess I could use it on iOS. I guess I could do the progressive web app thing. I could try that. That's a thought. I hear those are hot now. Yeah, I love Clams. They're great. I also I hear through the grapevine that D++ is doing something at BitBlock Boom this week and is going to use Clams to help show off Lightning to a bunch of people. So it's cool. Yeah, it's cool. It's great.
I'm a big Clams fan. I think when I was leaving Blockstream, it was one of the last few leads I did the handoff on. Very proud of them. They're building using runes. That's Rusty's take on these sort of permissioned cookies. It's basically like a macrune, but he didn't like macrunes because macrunes he felt were over-engineered with extra HMACs and too much crypto that was unnecessary. But either way, it's like a little permission thing they pass, and it's a browser-based wallet. They're doing some really cool stuff. They're using Lisa's bookkeeping plugin to hopefully provide some sort of financial statements for node operators and things like that in the future. So I'm very excited to see how things pan out for them. Good group of guys.
Bitcoin accounting is a fucking nightmare. Bitcoin Lightning accounting is going to be like a fucking nightmare squared.
So Lisa worked on it for 2 years and ironed out all the edge cases, and we just need someone like a Clams to make a pretty chart.
Yeah, but remember, right? Capital gains adjustments are adjustments. They're not that easy to compute, and they need accountants to also review them. For every Bitcoin transaction you make, you could cause a capital gain, right? That's in most countries. So it's it's something that people should keep in mind.
I think they've accounted for it, and they're also working with Satoshi Pacholi accounting, a guy named Joe there. So I think I'm pretty bullish.
Well, it's great. It really is cool. And also accounting is different for every country, and in the US it's kind of different for every state too.
But we're the only country that matters, American,
right. Number one
on the call. When you call me after this, you have to dial +1.
Canada is number one too, by the way.
Oh, damn it. Hey, then we're just gonna annex you. You're now United States of America too. You're just one big state.
I mean, I don't want to be treasonous on a podcast that's being recorded, but it'll be very interesting if something like that happens. Maybe you guys come for the water.
Oh, do you guys have water up there? We're running out of water in Texas, so yeah, watch your water, Canadians. We're coming for it.
So we have like all the fresh water, all of it. It's all here.
Well, all right, yeah. I guess I'm moving to Canada then. When Austin doesn't have any water left to drink, I don't know. We don't. I mean, I don't know how bad it is. We're like in a drought though. We haven't had rain for like a month.
I am staring at water that comes from the glaciers. That is about it's about 80 feet deep right over there. So
wow.
yeah, there is water.
That's cool. I wanted to like just kind of chime in really quick on make a quick like quip on the bookkeeper. There's a reason it's called the bookkeeper and not the accountant. So all it does is like collect your book data. For your accounting, you should like ask an actual accountant. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a very good, important observation there. BitBanana version 0.6.6. You'd think that this is a Pablo project with that name, but no, it's not. I think this is a alternative to Wallet Satoshi, if I remember right. Lightning Terminal version 0.10.5-alpha. Update to the integrated loop version. UI update use correct unit for loop out swap deadlines. Osmo version 2.5.0. Buy and sell, send and receive Bitcoin, quetzales and dollars directly from your cell phone based in Guatemala. Stalker News, unknown accounts. Well, that's nice. Nostr login, zap metadata, comment, reply highlighting. Oh, that's cool. It's nice to see them merging into the Nostr project. I think it's a perfect project to become Nosterized. Joltz Rewards, Bitcoin Reward API announced. Allow any entity to incorporate Bitcoin rewards over Lightning into their app, website, or business. You know, MicroStrategy is betting big on the Lightning and Bitcoin rewards. I think it's there is something there. All right, Project Spotlight, Static Wire, rent internet protocol subnets using Bitcoin's Lightning network. Lnshort.it, URL shortening service that offers the convenience of Lightning payment integration. Okay, so I guess if you're paying, you're not a product. But the problem with this is it's still ruggable, right? Because you're using their domain. It's still DNS based. We need alternatives to DNS. Lightning-GPT, pay some amount of Satoshis for some amount of session time with ChatGPT 3.4. BitMatrix is a trustless exchange protocol on Liquid network that allow direct asset swaps without giving up on the custody of funds. VoltPay, Lightning point of sale for business, free subscription tier for all users. Emeralize, buy and sell educational resources for Bitcoin. It's like Substack versus Udemy versus meets Lightning Network. Okay. They clearly been shopping this to VCs when you start doing this that famous startup times versus that startup. You know,
that's yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Uber for Lightning.
Wait, come pick me up in your car? Is that what you're saying? Lightning fast? I don't know. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to set up I do I've been working on some new content for Base 58 that's going to be on Udemy, and I was trying to figure out if I could move it over to Emeralize, and I'm having a lot of trouble figuring out how to upload stuff to their platform. So if you've used Emeralize and know how to get content over there, send me a DM on Twitter, because I want to set up stuff so people can buy content with Bitcoin or Lightning, I guess. Yeah.
I believe Santos, who's part of the Arizona Bitcoin network or whatever, is leading this project, and he's going to be at TabConf, also organizing hackathons with PlebLab. So you could probably chat with him there. And yeah, I encourage everyone to chat with him. It's a really cool solution.
All right. Privacy software, SimpleX. I should start calling this SimpleX instead of Simplex because that's herpes. SimpleX Chat version 5.2.3, faster app loading, Android fully remove system backup. It's such a great alternative to Signal. I think it's getting better every day. Do you guys use SimpleX yet?
Nope.
That's it. I'm moving the whole company to SimpleX.
Oh man. We gotta choose where the backdoors are from, right? Like if we
That's
choose
right.
Signal, at least it's like Switzerland. Where's this backdoor? Is it like US or
The back door is still the phone, so you're still screwed. Boosts. Okay, I'm gonna quickly read some of the boosts here. So, top booster, come Rocket. Somebody.
is that
got
Marty or
name.
Sahil who put that?
One of the two. 69,420 sats. Snooze. Shit, snooze. Transito, 50,000 sats. Marty didn't do the work. The amount of money Chain Analytics makes from Wasabi is microscopic part of the revenue. They don't send anything to them that they can't already know from looking at the chain. Wasabi doesn't have arbitrary denomination. They just have many that are multiples of a few based on increased composability. As a user, dust generation is absolutely not a problem. It has the extra benefit of not producing toxic change. A non-core is extremely conservative. Ape Myth Reindeer, 7777 sats. 2 rabbit hole recaps in 1 week. You're spoiling me. For the people that don't know, didn't listen to the last episode, I had Marty and Odell here, and I had Marty read the updates. Do Bravco, 1,000 sats. Very funny format, starting off adversarially, getting a dig. What wallet can you do with that? A great follow-up with you guys. MC Bros versus Team Script debate. Yeah, that was a good one. 1,000 sats. Taxes is taxes. No, here is taxes. Even the liberals get guns for Christmas. Love it. Chunky. This is why I trust the good people of Robinhood. Hold all my sats. Michael Matulev. I love this show podcasts. And Ding Ding. That was on the other show. RIP. 1,000 sats from Gary Krause. All right, guys, as usual, I won't read the Optech newsletter anymore fully, but I do encourage everybody to go listen to their pod and subscribe to this Optech newsletter. And I'll say this every episode because it is a great newsletter. And we do have a summary of their last ones on the show notes. Is there anything here that Nifty, Vivek, or Nadav want to comment on?
I think we're good.
There is an HTLC endorsement testing data collection on the Optech. I figured maybe Nadav might have opinions.
I'm not entirely sure what HTLC endorsement protocol is.
Great.
Does anyone know?
I guess I see it's Clara working on this. So is it flood and loot related?
Maybe. Yeah, and it's both of them, in fact.
Yeah, Carla and Clara. Oh, yeah, that's...
Oh yeah. Sorry,
my
I always...
dyslexia.
Yeah, all the same letters, you know?
I do want to comment here on one specific proposed changes to Bitcoin Core default relay policy by Peter Todd. This is inevitable and it should be changed to 4RB off by default. I am a big believer in that.
I know Nifty has some opinions.
Go ahead, Nifty.
I'm a big full RBF fan. Wait, yeah. Full RBF
Yeah, I
is
know
like
you are.
the only thing that makes sense. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, of course. How is it not default already? It's not yet though. Yeah, I'm sorry. NBK, what were you gonna say about it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's, if it's not valid, it's not your money yet. It really is that simple. I don't understand why this is so controversial to big blockers.
It seems like all this peer stuff needs to be figured out before we can have cooler stuff on Lightning, right? Like these are also prerequisites for LN symmetry. I know InstaGibs had like ephemeral anchors or something like that, right, Nifty?
Yeah, sorry, it took me a sec to find my yeah. The RBF stuff is like it's like slightly related to the anchor stuff. I think that's like kind of a whole different can of worms than this. But like kind of similar. I don't know. I'm gonna hand wave and be like not quite the same thing.
Yeah.
Also, I looked into it, and HTLC endorsement is a proposed kind of reputation system inside of Lightning routing to try and prevent channel jamming attacks. Which is pretty cool. But definitely experimental.
Sounds experimental. That's why it's on Optech. News and noteworthy. So a few stories here. LND and LDK successfully interrupt test blinded paths. That's cool. Parker Lewis and Wilco have joined Zapright as head of business. That's interesting. Binance becomes the first fully licensed crypto exchange in El Salvador. Don't buy BNB token, folks. It's a scam. Funding. Big Oil secures $100 million Series C funding. Holy shit. Isn't this like, I don't know how many times they've raised $100 million? But they do secure like probably like half of all the Bitcoin custody.
Do we know a valuation for that?
Yes, 1.73 bill.
Oof. And they actually make money. I think like all valuations got hammered then.
Well, I mean, the valuation really matters. It's like it's such a wishy-washy thing. It depends on who the investors are and what kind of marketing play you're doing and traction. That's all bullshit. Mining. Bitmain Anchorage expected to take equity in mining Bitcoin miner Core Scientific as part of bankruptcy plan. Oh boy. Pro-Bitcoin candidate Javier Milei snags primary presidential elections in Argentina. So that dude is interesting. I don't like to comment on politics here, but always fun to see a libertarian active in the polls. Argentina tried all forms of commie shit, so maybe now they try something else.
There's one weird fact. Okay, there's a couple weird facts about this guy. Like one of the ones that like I think stands out like that I remember about this dude is that he has like cloned his dog 6 times. Like his pet is like he just gets clones of like a dog and those are his pets. I don't know why that's weird to me. It's just like yeah. Really more of that story. I like yeah, I don't he seems a little strange. I mean all politicians are pretty strange, I think. It's just like a novel thing. I don't know.
I mean, in order to be a politician, you must be a psycho, right? Like, I mean, like either a psychopath or a sociopath or something. I mean, like nobody does that being like a normal human being.
Yeah, psychopath, sociopath, they're a masochist.
Yeah. I mean, or you're just a pure kleptocrat. All right, reads. Here's a list of our top recently published reads. So Torx, Twitter thread on HTLCs, how Lightning powers the global AI economy, where machines pay you money. Thoughts on did the Lightning Labs pivot into the AI a trend right now? Is that what's happening?
I don't know if they pivoted, but it's very unfortunate. It seems like they've had to deal with a lot of lawsuits regarding some of the branding choices they've made, whether it's Monero people attacking them for Taro or law people attacking them for LSAT. So I guess that's L402. And then the big hype thing recently was Fetty, like AI for all hackathon using L402. So I guess they're trying to use these macaroon-based permission, the whole error 402 payment required stuff. They're trying to have some sort of API call paywall thing for these AI solutions, and they feel it's a good solution because I guess every time they're reaching out to whatever server, they're already using tokens. So they feel like these micro transactions are a good fit. I wouldn't say it's a pivot, but seems like a rebrand once again. Poor LND.
It's a tough market out there.
Yeah.
Thoughts on scaling and consensus by James. I want to read his post. I haven't had a chance yet. Any of you read it yet?
No. Is this before or after the Twitter flame wars?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Twitter flaming wars is eternal. It's eternally rolling, right? Like they just keep on rolling. Like there is no end or beginning to them. Grapheno asks, de-Google your phone and improve your privacy by Bitcoiner.guide. Field report implementing MooSig 2 by Brandon Black from BitGo in Bitcoin Optech. How actually open AI wins by Max Webster. Bitcoin's Lightning Network, fast, cheap, and a lifetime for Latin America by Mickey Koss. Looking ahead, Lightning payments in 2025 by River. No code plus AI plus Bitcoin, the ultimate trio for future workflows by Albi. Guys, any other reads that you guys recommend of recent?
I don't know if this counts as a read, but I saw Jimmy Song put out a book, right? Fiat Ruins Everything. Yeah. Maybe another cool thing to check out.
Yeah. Cool. Hey guys, so I think we've gone through. It was a shorter list for Bitcoin. It seems that everybody is on summer vacation. Any final thoughts, Nadav?
I don't have anything top of mind, but I'm excited to go to TabConf in a couple of weeks, and I hope to see you all there. All of you that can make it anyway.
Very cool. Nifty, final thoughts.
Yeah, I've got just a couple things to leave people with. First off, is if you're in Atlanta or going to TabConf, check out the Base 58 in-person Taproot class happening Monday and Tuesday before TabConf at the Atlanta BitLab. We still got a few seats left. I'd really like to get that class filled. Requires an application because you got to know some stuff about Bitcoin already before you sign up. We're going to be going through how to make multi-sigs using the new checksig ad, how do you do using Music 2 and then using Frost. So it should be a really good deep dive both into how Taproot works as well as some of the new MPC versus script stuff you've been hearing. Well, I guess we're teaching the controversy in Taproot class TM. And then also check out Bitcoin Plus, the nix-bitcoin stuff we were talking about earlier in the episode. We're going to be having a conference in October 6th and 7th, so right before the Amsterdam conference for BTC Mag. Still got some tickets on sale there and would love to see more people show up. So those are my two shells.
Nifty, are you going to put out like a Udemy course or anything on the Taproot stuff? That's amazing. It feels like there's enough content for Music 2 and Frost-related things.
Dude, yeah, I would love to. So typically the way that like Base 58 classes work, so I was hoping to get it done last week, but I had a lightning class, so I ran out of time. Anyways, I'm working right now on getting a class up on Udemy for like what I would say, like ECDSA signatures and sig hashes. So it'll like, basically it walks you through implementing ECDSA, all the script hash key stuff and how sig hashes work for everything up until Taproot. So I'm going to do the Taproot class in person a few times and kind of like, that's like a good opportunity for me to like figure out how it works. Where I really like doing in-person classes because I get good feedback really quickly. And then maybe at some point in the future, I'll turn that into like an online class. So yeah, that's kind of the plan.
And then the other thing I think you should show before you forget is you're having like a Frost explanation competition at Tab, right?
That's right. Yeah. So Base 58, sorry, I can't show all this stuff because it would take an hour. But we're doing, so Base 58 is running a protocol village, and one of the highlights on, I think, Saturday afternoon, Cody's helping me put together a Explain Frost competition. So Nadav, we'd love to have you participate if you're up for it.
True. How do I apply?
Yeah. I will like talk to Cody. I'll also like put you on the list. So we're gonna try and get like, we have a couple people already. We'd love to get a handful more. We're not really sure like how many minutes you're gonna be up there explaining for, but we're gonna have a whiteboard, and the idea is like we'll give people like a short amount of time to try and explain it as fast as possible. So hopefully you'll get a bunch of different perspectives on how it works then, and then we'll have like hopefully like kind of a larger kind of roundtable discussion afterwards where people can give feedback or ask further questions, and hopefully by the end of the hour, everyone, or I think it's an hour 20, everyone in the audience like hopefully will be able to like at least maybe explain how it works to their friend, etc. So mass Frost download opportunity.
Nifty, I have a solution for you. You should just put everybody seated and play the Bitcoin Review Frost episode on play for everybody for 2 hours.
MBK, are there enough farmer metaphors in there?
Not impossible. I can't remember.
Nadav, you're canceled and not allowed to in this competition unless you use farming terms like we used to.
Oh no.
Wait, MBK, are you gonna be there? Do you want to come represent like Bitcoin Review Club as Bitcoin Review?
Oh, no, timing is not going to work, unfortunately, but I could be there in spirit with fully extending the license of this show to you to play the episode.
Okay, great. All right, no doubt. I'll see if I can find like a 5-minute clip or something. If you guys want to send me a 5 to 10 minute clip, I will play it. We can play it that way.
Listen,
too.
it was joking aside, it was actually very good. It was a really nice episode. We had who did we have for that?
Jesse, Rindo, and me. I think Jesse Posner.
Yeah, it was really good. I think people will maybe benefit from it. But I'm kidding. You cannot play a 2 hours and a half show for them at a live venue.
One quick thing. Nadav got announced that he joined as an advisor for DLC.link. So congrats on that, Nadav.
Wow. Yay, people building DLC stuff.
There you go. I love the DLC enthusiasm. Listen, guys, thank you so much for coming on and surviving the list. And I really, really appreciate having Bitcoin people who actually build things coming on and talking about other things that people build as well. And with that, I think we're done. Thank you. Thanks for listening. For more resources, check the show notes. We put a lot of effort into them. And remember, we don't have a crystal ball, so let us know about your project. Visit bitcoin.review to find out how to get in touch.